There is a voice you hear more than any other voice in this world. Not the voice of your family, not the voice of society, not even the voice of your enemies. It is your own voice. The way you speak to yourself in private is shaping the way you live in public. It is shaping your confidence, your energy, your discipline, your courage, and even your future. Most people don't realize that their life is being built by the words they repeat internally every single day. If your inner dialogue is filled with fear, doubt, shame, and weakness, your life will begin to reflect that. But if you learn to speak to yourself with clarity, power, truth, and authority, something begins to change. Your posture changes. Your decisions change. Your standards change. Your life changes. Every day, whether you notice it or not, you are speaking to yourself. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, there is a constant conversation happening inside your mind. You are interpreting your past, judging your present, and predicting your future through the words you repeat internally. Most people underestimate how powerful this inner dialogue really is. But the truth is that your inner voice is shaping the way you think, feel, act, and ultimately live. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not enough, that you always fail, that life never works in your favor, your mind begins to accept those words as truth. And once your mind accepts them, your body, emotions, and decisions start following that pattern. You hesitate more, fear more, trust yourself less, and slowly begin to live as the person your inner voice keeps describing. In this way, your words become more than thoughts. They become instructions. They become the script your life starts acting out. Your mind is always listening. It records every sentence, every label, every belief you repeat. That is why negative self-talk is so dangerous. It doesn't just affect your mood for a moment. It shapes your identity over time. In the same way, intentional and powerful self-talk can begin to rebuild you from within. When you start saying, I am learning, I am growing, I can handle this, and I will not give up, you send a completely different message to your mind. You stop feeding fear and start building strength. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of the conversation happening within you. If you want to change your future, begin by changing the voice you listen to the most, your own. Many people believe that being harsh with themselves will make them stronger, more disciplined, or more successful. They think that if they constantly criticize themselves, point out every flaw, and replay every mistake, it will somehow force them to improve. But in reality, constant self-criticism does not create strength. It creates shame, exhaustion, and self-doubt. It weakens your confidence, drains your energy, and slowly turns your own mind into a place of pressure instead of power. There is a major difference between correcting yourself and condemning yourself. Condemnation attacks your identity. It says things like, you're useless, you'll never get it right, or you ruin everything. These kinds of words don't push you forward. They crush your spirit and make change feel impossible. Correction, on the other hand, is firm but constructive. It does not deny your mistakes, but it refuses to define you by them. It says, this behavior needs to change. This habit is hurting your future. Or, you are capable of more, so act like it. That is the shift you need to make. Stop speaking to yourself like an enemy and start speaking to yourself like a leader. A leader does not insult, weaken, or humiliate. A leader gives direction. When you fall short, don't say, I'm a failure. Say, that was below my standard, and I will do better. Don't say, I always mess everything up. Say, I made a mistake, but I can correct it and move forward. Your words should not destroy your identity. They should train it. When you replace self-criticism with self-command, you stop tearing yourself down and start building discipline, clarity, and self-respect from within. that is when real change begins. The way you speak to yourself during difficult moments reveals whether you are living from a place of power or from a place of helplessness. When life becomes heavy, when plans fail, when emotions rise, most people immediately begin speaking to themselves like victims. They ask, "Why is this always happening to me? Why can't I ever get a break? Why is my life so hard?" These thoughts may feel natural in pain, but if they become your pattern, they will keep you emotionally trapped. They train your mind to focus on what is wrong instead of what must be done. Speaking to yourself like a leader changes everything. A leader does not deny pain, but a leader does not surrender to it either. Instead of asking, "Why me?" a leader asks, "What is the next right step?" Instead of repeating the problem, a leader begins creating direction. This shift is powerful because it takes your energy away from complaining and places it into responsibility, discipline, and action. To speak to your mind like a leader means you stop feeding chaos and start creating order within yourself. It means saying, "This situation is difficult, but I will not let it control me." It means telling yourself, "I may feel fear, but I will still move forward." It means reminding yourself, "I do not need perfect conditions to take responsibility for my life." That is what leadership sounds like in private. It is calm, clear, and intentional. When you talk to yourself this way, you begin to rebuild your inner world. You become less reactive and more steady. You stop waiting for motivation and start acting from principle. You stop seeing yourself as someone at the mercy of circumstances and begin seeing yourself as someone capable of guiding your own mind. And once you can lead yourself, your life starts moving in a completely different direction. The words you speak to yourself carry the power to shape your mindset, your emotions, and your actions, but only when those words are spoken with intention and belief. Many people repeat positive phrases every day, but nothing changes because their words are empty, rushed, and disconnected from their heart. Real transformation does not happen when you say something casually, just because it sounds good. It happens when your words are backed by emotional conviction, consistency, and a deep willingness to become what you are speaking. Your mind responds to repetition, but it responds even more strongly to repetition filled with feeling. When you speak to yourself with certainty, focus, and emotion, your words begin to carry weight. They stop being simple statements and start becoming internal instructions. That is why daily affirmations can be so powerful when used correctly. They are not magic phrases meant to instantly change your life. They are tools to train your inner world, redirect your thinking, and strengthen the identity you are building. But your affirmations must be real. Don't just say, "I am confident," and leave it there. Speak with depth. Say, "I trust myself to handle what comes. I will not shrink when life challenges me. I am learning to stand firm, even when I feel uncertain." Don't just say, "I am disciplined." Say, "I do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like it. My emotions do not control my standards. My future matters too much for me to keep living without direction." The key is consistency. Speak these words in the morning before the world influences your mind. Speak them in moments of weakness when old thoughts return. Speak them until they stop feeling like wishes and start feeling like truth. Because when you repeatedly speak life into yourself with conviction, you slowly become the person your words have been preparing you to be. Real change does not begin with your circumstances. It begins with your identity. The reason so many people struggle to transform their lives is because they try to change habits without changing the way they see themselves. They want discipline, confidence, peace, and success, but deep inside, they still identify as weak, inconsistent, broken, or incapable. As long as your identity stays tied to your old self, your actions will keep returning to old patterns. You may change for a few days, but eventually you will fall back into what feels familiar. Your life always moves in the direction of the person you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who lacks discipline, you will continue making excuses. If you see yourself as someone who is always anxious and powerless, you will keep reacting to life from fear. But when your identity begins to shift, your choices begin to shift with it. You stop asking, "What do I feel like doing today?" and start asking, "What would the person I am becoming choose in this moment?" This is why the way you talk to yourself matters so much. Your words either reinforce your old identity or strengthen a new one. When you repeatedly say, "I am becoming someone who is disciplined, calm, focused, and strong," you are not just speaking positively, you are giving your mind a new standard to live by. You are teaching yourself to think, act, and respond from a higher level. Identity change is not pretending to be someone you're not. It is choosing, day by day, to stop feeding the version of you that keeps you stuck, and to start building the version of you that can carry the life you want. The moment you begin speaking from the identity of who you are becoming, your actions start aligning with that vision. And when your identity changes, your life cannot remain the same.